Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make really great homemade butter in just about 5 minutes. In addition to that, I'm going to show you how to turn that into clarified butter. Once you see how much better this tastes, you're probably never going to want to buy it out of the store again. So you ready? Let's get into this. This is my Ninja Detect blender, and on this thing I'm going to be using a food processor attachment. Any food processor will get the job done, and the procedure is going to be the same, so don't worry if you don't have this particular one. Also, if you don't have a food processor but you have a mixer, you can use a KitchenAid mixer or something like that with a whisk attachment and it'll do the same thing, albeit it might take a little bit longer. The only ingredients we need is a little bit of salt, and that's only if you're going to be doing salted butter. This doesn't go on till the end though, so we'll put this aside. And some heavy cream. If you could find heavy cream with 40% fat, it's going to be better for this because it'll be more creamy. But if not, 36% will work really well. And if you can't find that, you can still deal with whatever you can find. Just remember, the higher the fat, the better. Also, you're going to want to make sure that this has been in your refrigerator and you get it as cold as you can. Okay, now we're just going to pour this heavy cream in here. We're making a lot of butter, by the way. Throw on our lid, and we're just going to run our food processor for about 5 to 7 minutes. If yours has a timer on it and it shuts off in a certain amount of time, that's perfectly fine. You can just restart it, no big deal. But we want to keep going until this looks really chunky and we've separated the buttermilk from it. Okay, we're about halfway done, and if I open this up and take a look, you can see that right now I've got whipped cream. If you didn't know how to make whipped cream from scratch, that's how you do it, by the way. So basically, to make butter, you're just massively over whipping your whipped cream. All right, let's continue. Hey, by the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. You can see that went from cream to whipped cream to this chunky stuff. If I put this down here and open this, you can really see all of this separation.
Now that's a lot of damage!
For the most part, this is how you make buttermilk, by the way, because that's kind of what that is down in there. So now we just have to separate our butter, which is this, from the buttercream. You can save that buttercream to put into stuff like mashed potatoes and things like that, but just remember, it's not going to have a lot of the fat and flavor because that's all right there. Okay, now we're going to get this separated. Just be sure you get these processor blades out of the way first, because if you don't, you're going to probably cut yourself on them. Just be real careful with that. Watch me cut myself on camera now. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Now we're just going to gather up our butter and we're going to put it into a bowl of ice water to rinse it off. Leave all of the milk behind. You want this to be ice cold water, by the way. Okay, that's all of our butter. We'll get this out of the way. We're just going to push this together. We're going to rinse it off. We're going to try to get all the remnants of the milk out of this because any of that milk that's left over can really shorten the life of this butter. You should be able to tell if you're squishing it, you can squish that remaining milk right out of that. If you're looking, you can see it come out there. And once you've done that, we can form this. You like my cutting board? I actually made this out of a leftover piece of my butcher block countertop. I was pretty stoked about that because it probably saved me about $100 or so. Okay, and all we gotta do is shape this the way we want. Now if we want salted butter, we can just salt it from here. And there you go, quick butter, and it's probably the best butter you've ever had in your life. Now I'm going to show you how to turn this into clarified butter.
What?
To make clarified butter, we're going to cook our finished butter on the stove. So I'm just going to put mine on probably kind of a medium to medium low heat. And we're going to take our butter and chop this up into some smaller pieces. And then we're just going to throw them right in here. Probably eat that. No sense in wasting it. Now we're going to proceed to cook this butter, and we're basically trying to boil all the water out. You don't want to use too high heat. I'm only using 4 on my induction cooktop here. If you go too high, you're gonna end up burning it and it's gonna stick to the sides of the pan. Also, you wanna make sure you do stir this every so often just to make sure it heats evenly. And we are going to boil this for someplace between 10 and 15 minutes. At first, you're gonna see it start to foam up like this. That's normal. This will kind of subside by itself. If you want to take a ladle to take some of this frothy stuff off, you can also. Basically, what we're doing here is we're burning off all of the milk proteins and the water. That means that once we get done with this, the smoke point of this is going to be closer to 500 degrees. Normally butter burns at about 280 degrees, so with the clarified butter, you'll be able to use it almost like you use olive oil or avocado oil. Also, since we're burning off all of the moisture, there's not really going to be anything for bacteria to attach to, so you'll be able to keep this for probably about a year or so before it goes bad. Okay, after it's been about 15 minutes or so, we're going to turn this heat off, and we're going to pour our butter into a glass bowl to cool down. Now this is going to have to sit in here for anywhere between, I don't know, 1 and 2 hours, something like that. If you look in the bottom of the pan, you can see all of the milk solids that have been left on the bottom of the pan. Those have burned up a little bit, that's fine. You got some other stuff down here. We're not going to pour that in here, we're going to leave that out. Basically, this is kind of the stuff we're trying to get rid of in the first place. Now we just have to let this sit just like this, and it's going to do the separation process by itself.
2,000 years later.
Okay, it's been just over an hour and this is almost down to room temperature. You don't want to get totally to room temperature because then it's going to start turning solid and we don't want that. At least not yet. Now if you're looking at this, you can see there's some solids down on the bottom and also some solids forming on the surface here. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to move this over here for just a second. And we need another bowl, a colander, and some cheesecloth. I'm gonna set that right in there. First things first, we want to get rid of all this stuff on the surface. Just want to try to clean that up as good as you can. The cheesecloth is going to catch a lot of this stuff, but we really want to get rid of as much of this as we can without having to rely on that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're just trying to help the process along here a teeny bit. Okay, next we're going to slowly pour this in here. We have the solids down there on the bottom. We want to keep those in our bowl. You can see that some of these solids are making their way to the edge. We don't want those in our stuff, so we can just roll this around the other way and try to catch as much of this as we can. If we can't get it, that's fine. We don't have to take all of this butter. There we go. We'll get a little bit more anyway. Okay, then we just lift this up out of here like that. Let that drip down. And then here's our finished clarified butter. Look how pretty that looks. Okay, from here all we gotta do is transfer it into something else and we're all set. And there we go. This should last us for a while. Just remember that if you leave this at room temperature, it's gonna turn hard. That's not a problem. If you heat it up a little bit, it'll turn just like this again. So don't be afraid to keep it in your refrigerator if you want to. Yeah, that's a good cup of coffee. This is a nice cup too. It's available in my merch store. That was so easy. And once you taste it, you're gonna be hooked. Also, one of the better things about knowing how to turn that into clarified butter is the fact that you can't always find that in the store. If you don't have a food processor and you'd like a little bit more information about the Ninja Detect system that I used in this video, I do have an Amazon affiliate link to it down in the description. If you buy anything through those links, I do make a small commission, but it doesn't change the price that you pay 1 cent. If you like this video, you might like this video right here where I showed you how to make some really great Parmesan crisps. Again, that's super easy. There's only one ingredient and you can get them done in about 10 minutes. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you back again here really soon. And until that time, I'm Joe and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.